Welcome to our podcast series on the Nazareth Building, a 60-bed residential aged care home, an extension of Holy Family Services Aged Care, designed as a place for hospitality, love and acceptance. I am Sister Grace, and I invite you to join me as we explore how this new space builds upon Holy Family Services' legacy of compassionate care, carrying it into the future. Well, good morning, Sonia. How are you?
I'm good, Sister Grace.
Well, we never spoke that officially.
Exactly.
But it's officially happening.
Yes.
So let's have a chat. Really, there is
official.
nothing official about that. It's really just a chat that hopefully will help people who, bring their loved ones to this place
Yep.
and are considering, I want to bring my mom or dad when the Nazareth building is finished. When this building is finished, well, one of those rooms will be mine. That's basically the purpose of our conversation.
Yeah.
However, before we will get into it, we need to get to know you a tiny bit more.
Yes.
Would you kindly tell us what is manager clinical care in the aged care? What does it entitle? What is your role at Holy Family Services?
My role at Holy Family Services is to make sure that all the clinical care. So there are different people who do their roles, like personal care workers, registered nurses, clinical leaders, and care manager, which is me, manager of clinical care. But my role from the entire is to make sure that everybody is doing their job properly. Secondly, and the most important role is that the residents are getting the care that they need, and person-centered care that they need, not as a whole. It's very individualized, very person-centered from that regards.
Person-centered, individualized, that hits not only the standards of the aged care, but also mission of our place.
Yes.
When it's consumer-focused service within the Christian values, Catholic tradition, and with the values of hospitality, love, and acceptance.
Yeah.
For your team, this is very specific. It's clinical.
Yes.
I think that people have a lot of misunderstanding what clinical care is about.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give us some examples? What does personal care worker does? What does RN does? What the clinical care leader does? And how does it all work together?
So it basically like the personal care workers, they're very providing care on the first level, right?
Yeah.
Like in terms of making sure they're having their showers, making sure as they need their meals, and making sure that all their day-to-day care needs are met.
Yeah.
Now, if we talk about the registered nurses look at the clinical care from that first level again, like where if the personal care staff identify there's a deterioration in a resident or the clinical care needs have changed, and sort of like they need to be escalated, they escalate it to the registered nurses, and then the registered nurses then make sure that the clinical care needs are looked after. If they have any deterioration or any changes in the clinical care, to make sure that they then escalate to the families, to the GPs, to the hospitals, wherever the cascades might like in that way escalate the care needs and make sure that they get what they need. From clinical care leaders' perspective, again, they look after in overall if the PCWs, if the personal care workers and the registered nurses are meeting that care, that what's the resident needs. And there can be a lot of instances where there are gaps, and they mitigate these gaps and sort of like say, the residents need this, and they guide the registered nurses and the PCWs on the regards. And for me, from an operational level, like making sure that all the clinical care risks are mitigated, making sure that the PCIs or the quality improvements are implemented if there is a need, and in most circumstances they are, making sure that the complaint, if there is any concern, complaints, feedback, could be of different nature, could be of clinical care nature, could be of different other natures as well, to make sure that they are sort of like looked after from that.
I think that when people bring their loved ones to the aged care, they absolutely expect that the clinical needs will be met. That goes without saying, because they can't do that at home.
Yes.
And this is the primary reason why they bring their loved ones to the care. But I think that clinical care is also quite often very misunderstood as very much of the connected with the body, meeting physical needs. Is clinical care only meeting physical needs?
No, it is not. Like a lot of the time, it's also spiritual care needs. Yes, physical care need is something that needs to be met. Yes, people have clinical. Residents do have clinical issues where we need to meet that. But along with that, we need to make sure that the spiritual care needs are met, and the care that we provide are culturally appropriate to our residents as well.
Absolutely. And I must say that, we are very lucky in Holy Family Services because we have people who support personal care workers, and from whom personal care workers also can learn how to meet those spiritual needs, emotional needs, psychological needs of the people. But I would like to digress a little bit from our residents before we will move to the next stage. You see, I hear you. Again, our offices are very close, like with other people in our admin. And I hear sometimes that you have to spend a lot of time speaking with the families or support people of those residents.
Yes.
Is the clinical care in any way extended to them? Why do you have to deal with them?
Yes, that's a lot of that is part of my role, and I take out a lot of time. It takes a lot of time out of my role to talk to the families, and I take that as a privilege that I am able to do this in my role. A lot of the time, the families, because we work in this clinical setting, we work in this facility, we know what is here, but our families not all the time know that. So there are times where I or my team has to explain to the family members that this is how it works, this is, and understand what the care needs of their loved ones here are as well, because it is collaboration. It is not something that the resident will come here and we will say, you need this care, you need to do this. It's not that. It must be collaborated with the resident as well as the family member. So it is important that we spend the time right from admission to and ongoing as well in terms of understanding, because the care needs are not always the same again. When residents come in, the care needs are maybe something, and then it then changes to be the goals of care change, the care needs change, so we have to be always moving with time. And there are times when we are explaining to these family members why there's a need, why there's a change, why there's a deterioration, and what is expected from that regard. So that is a lot of my role that I
Your
spend.
time, and I would say that's my humble observation, that sometimes it's not an easy task. What is the hardest for the family to understand when you deal with the families?
There could be different reasons, but a lot of the time it's acceptance of what is happening, and especially we all love our parents, and we all or our loved ones. It might not be the parent, it might be auntie, uncle, or whoever, like it's a family member, and we all it's the acceptance that sometimes the family members don't understand that the deterioration happens. It's a part of life. 5 years ago, I was walking, running around and doing things on my own, but that's not the case now, and my care needs or my family's care needs have changed. So, and also, like, part of coming in aged care doesn't mean that you're proof that you're not going to have any issues. Yes, you're still going to have issues because you are human. We are all even if we walk, even if we are not at aged care and we are at home, there's risk. You walk from your toilet to the bedroom, there's risk. You get in a car and you drive, there's risk. So sometimes the families don't understand, and then it's sort of like, oh yeah, they're here to be looked after, but we need to make sure that our residents are looked after with dignity, and provide that dignity, and not to take away their independence where possible, to make sure that they get that independence, and by giving them this independence, we give them dignity in that.
Dignity and independence are very powerful words, and they are the words that each one of us would like to keep as long as possible, till our last breath, may I say.
Yes.
And I think that this is also one of the principles which we carried when we were designing the Nazareth Building.
Yes.
The last 3 videos were talking about mortar and bricks.
Yes.
How do we design it? When I start conversation with you and a couple of other people who contribute to the Nazareth Building, I would like to just grasp an idea about how the different people contribute to this new addition to our residential aged care. When and how the clinical staff contributed, or maybe still contributes, in the designing of the Nazareth Building. What can your team contribute to that?
The best thing we could do, and I can reflect back and think, and a lot of them come from experience, working in this place for nearly 6 years and working in different places and seeing different settings. It is important that we do provide clinical care, but we want to provide clinical care in the best possible setting where it is very homely.
Yeah.
In very homely environment. It can never, I guess, be a home, but we try to make nearly as possible as home. Okay. And from that regards, we still need the clinical setting.
Yeah.
But we want to minimize that clinical, like the hospital setting feeling, like where the gas cylinders are there out in the open, or the items like the equipments are there, like from that clinical, where a person walks in. That's not like in your home that you have gas, where you have those oxygen cylinders, or loads of towels, or whatever it might be, from that regard. So when we were consulted to for the building, we looked at from that angle as well, like where is it good to have a medication room, for example, so that it's a bit away from, where is it good to have a doctor's room, for example. So again, like they're sort of like make homely feeling, and when a resident wakes up, like I was imagining this morning when I was at home, I got up and I think, oh, that's my bathroom, that's my kitchen, I can go and make my coffee there. So that's the sort of feeling when we walk into Nazareth Building, and walk it into a household. This is how we can see. That's what we envision, like our residents will be feeling very homely. Like you go out and you see people, you see staff, you see a kitchenette, where you can walk in and sort of like make coffee, or ask somebody to make a coffee for you.
Absolutely. And I must say that based on my conversation with you and all the management team that was consulted on several occasions for the Nazareth Building, I can say that you picked up things that even the architect wouldn't, because they don't work in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So a simple example, on what level is the rail in the front of the toilet, right?
Yes.
Well, is the reach to the toilet paper easy, accessible?
Yeah.
Is the emergency button easily accessible for the people? Is it the right level of the desks that are being built? Would the wheelchair fit under the desk?
Because all these things give people independence, and we want to enable them rather than providing that support all the time. We're not worried that we have to provide the support, but as a human, you want to push yourself till the last. I want to do that. I want to push myself and be able to do things on my own. So that's sort of thing that we wanted to make sure that a resident who lives in there is going to be able to do independently as long as possible.
And that you will be able to provide more specific help if needed.
Yes.
I remember when we were visiting the showroom,
Yeah.
I'm very aesthetically focused. So
Yeah.
I look at the position of the bed and I was saying, we need to use the space between the bathroom and the bed and move the bed slightly. And right away, your team comes with the answer, absolutely not, because you need the lifter to be able to get easily in and out from the bathroom.
Because you need to cater for every occasion. Like, as I said earlier, the care needs of the resident change, and eventually, like, there might be lifters, there might be things that we need to take in to help the resident during the care process. So yeah.
Absolutely, that's the thing. Look, clinical care, it's the care of, we use that beautiful word, holistic approach, right? And we talked a little bit about that. Now, let's move from the holistic approach of a person into the environment. How do you see and envision clinical care in the new Nazareth building? Would that be exactly the same as it is here? Or would that be slightly different because of the design? How would you prepare your team for the new Nazareth building?
I think because the care principles are the same and they won't change, regardless whether we're in this building or whether in that building, in the Nazareth building. Because the care principles are what it is here and what it's going to be there. But the only thing that the environment around that we provide this care. So from staff perspective, here, for example, we look after 35 residents like in 1 week, and we're going to have we do have big settings in the dining rooms. So we have more residents, we have more might be family members present. Correct. Or things like that. But in the Nazareth building, because of the 15 household settings, where maximum of 15 residents will be there. So and also like the residents can cook their food if they want with the support, or if they can do it by themselves. So while the care principles remain the same, the environment around which we provide those cares do look different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I had one more kind of thought that I wanted to share with you, and that is connected with what we discussed, teamwork. The work of a team here in this existing building, it's very well organized. Are you starting to think how would you organize the teamwork in the new building as well?
Yes, we have to, because at the moment, because of the bigger setting over here, staffing wise, we, for example, allocate 4 staff in morning, 4 staff in afternoon, or something like that. They could be different depending on each setting. So we have, and we already have in plan, start thinking about the staffing and because of the 4 household settings, how many registered nurses would suit, how many care staff, and how you provide the lifestyle and support from that as well. So yes, it is going to look quite a bit different than what we have in this building at the moment. Yeah.
I love your beautiful smile when you come to work every day, but I know that it requires a lot of stamina, and sometimes I even question myself, how does she do it? How do you do it? So how do you get the motivation to come to work when it's not easy, and when people actually not most of the time are not grateful for what you do? But set more expectations and more expectations. So what gets you going?
I think for me, I like working this environment. It's really, when I walk in, I feel like I'm going to walk in this place another 20 years. So that passion of, first, working in this place. Second, I guess I won't be worried to say that I love what I do. I don't see myself doing something else
Yeah.
because I'm really passionate about what I do. And sometimes I might appear over passionate as well, but let it be. And I think this is what gives me energy. Like there are times when people feel drained out of work, and you go and you reflect back, and you come and you put that smile back again, because I love what I do. You know, it is like nursing is such a profession that I think if someone don't love what they do, that reflection, I think, is not visible there. About even they do provide care, I think it is important that somebody loves what they do. I think it applies to all the professions, but especially nursing, because there are times when you deal with things that are unexpected, and from that big answers.
Well, thank you very much for your passion. It definitely contributes to the mission of our place, to the mission of the sisters and everyone who creates now and in the future Holy Family Services. We need people like you, and we need your energy to get the whole clinical team going and responding, as you said, with dignity and helping and supporting people keep their independence as long as it is possible. Is there any one sentence or two what you would like to finish with as you look forward to the new building, keep on working in the existing one, and whatever else you want to say from the bottom of your heart?
I guess I would say that we are all looking very forward to that building, and working with all our future residents, families, and our staff, and being able to support our new residents in there, and support our staff who will be providing care to residents in that building, in our Nazareth building.
Our Nazareth building. I agree with you. We own it. This is our building.
It is ours. Yes, it is.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for your time.
No worries. Thanks, Sister Grace.
Thank you for joining us as we build a future of dignity and care. The Nazareth Building, an extension of Holy Family Services Aged Care, continues our shared commitment to those we serve. To see our progress or learn more about the 60-bed Nazareth home opening in 2026, visit holyfamilyservices.com.au, our future. We look forward to sharing more of this journey with you. We care about the same people you do.